Lindsey and Blaine. I have to say, I think besides a few other guests, you guys really rocked out to that song. Thank you.
We needed it.
Welcome to Down with Dedee, guys.
Thank
Hi.
you. Thanks for having us.
Oh
Yep.
my God. Well, this is like silly. We're trying to act like we don't know each other. This is what it is. People who are listening and watching this podcast, Lindsey and Blaine and I have all teamed up as friends, but also we have a common denominator. Oh my God, do we love animals? Do we care about animal welfare? That's an understatement. We met through a mutual friend, Mitch, who works with Nat Geo, who's also on this show. But I really wanted them on the show to explain to everybody what you're doing and how I'm so excited to continue to tell everybody about this mission that you guys are on, because I think it's so important that people know that people like you exist when it comes to being part of the solution and giving a damn about this world when it comes to animals. So hit it.
All right. You want to explain it?
Well, thank you so much for having us. And we love what we're working on with you. And again, globally, I think it's amazing to find more people that care as much about animals as we do. So we met because of Mitch with Nat Geo. Our goal was to save 48 chimpanzees at the wildlife way station initially. That's actually how I met Blaine and Mitch. Come to find out, we're still trying to save those same chimpanzees, but we also ended up saving 150 other animals, so horses and all kinds of other things. But we also work with 11 different sanctuaries worldwide, and we want to grow more. The goal is that there'll be a way station in every state, every municipality, every country by 2026. And we hope to be on the WCEC platform and also the United Nations platform talking about why this is so important.
Okay, can you back up, sweetie? Now, you mentioned two things that even I don't know what that is. You said the CFG what?
WEC, which is the World Economic Forum, or WEF, sorry.
World Economic Forum. Okay, so that's like that's something you really want on your side when you're trying to do what you guys are doing?
Mainly because they have a lot of grants and a lot of support for nature areas, and also for doing things to kind of fix the environment and conservation. And there's a lot of money available to help people that are trying to save animals. And there's so many needy nonprofits and NGOs out there that if they could tap into this, right, it could change everything, right?
So what you guys are saying is you want to go and educate these sanctuaries. Hey, there's money out there to help you out, because most sanctuaries are kind of like all of us, you know, like we have these bleeding hearts. Like, I will give the animal their medicine before I fix my heater and it's winter.
Yeah. Yeah, right? And a lot of them are run by single moms, elderly women that work 3 jobs. I mean, one of the sanctuaries we work with is like a woman who literally works at a pet store half the day. She works in a thrift store the other half, and then takes care of 50 horses at night. And she's in her 70s. Like, this should not be. These angels we should be taking care of, right? And
I love that. They are angels. You're right. And if there's money out there to help them out, make it a little easier, not necessarily rich at all. It's just that, you know, they shouldn't be struggling financially, is what you're saying, because what they're doing is such a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah. And on top of that, it's not just saving the animals, it saves us. Because at the end of the day, what we're doing to the planet, as we all know, is causing us, we're going to die eventually. And so are our generations. I hate to be like that bleak, but if we can turn it around is the idea. And there's ways to turn it around. And, you know, the animals are actually the secret. You know, there's places in the world where they've actually just allowed horses, for example, to just be wild in areas where they had decimated it because of manufacturing. There's a place specifically in northern China. And those horses, just because of utilizing the ground and doing the things horses do, like going to the bathroom and eating and drinking and everything they do, caused 27 new species to come naturally, right? And fix the land.
We're not hearing about that. We're hearing wrong information. Yeah, like Ashley Avis, who's also on the show, has a beautiful film and talking about the misinformation, because I have people following me saying, yeah, well, you know, you don't know, Dedee, that the real thing is the horses are dying out there. There's no water for them. And I thought, wow, they're still, right, going from wrong information. And her film in particular really educates you on that's not true.
Well, and to that point, let's just like talk about that misinformation for a second, because we're going to talk about paranormal later, right? And I think,
oh yeah, we are.
Like, think about it this way: the horses that have been on this planet for thousands of years, they're still alive, right? They're an ancient species. Elephants, same thing. Elephants have DNA that actually obliterates cancer in a petri dish. Elephants have no cancer in their body. Why? Because they have 3,000-year-old or 10,000-year-old, 10 million-year-old, whatever it is. I'm not a biologist. DNA that's been fighting these things or fending them off for years. So those guys have been here longer than us. We've only been here for 300 years. So I'm sorry, I'm going to go with the horses. They can find their own water, find their own food. They're doing better than us. And they do.
I'm on Team Horse. I'm on Team Horse too, baby.
Yeah.
Blaine, are you on Team Horse?
Of course I am.
Horse, a horse, a horse. Of course he is.
Of course I am.
Well, let me say that, like I said, you guys are involved with so many things. It's so amazing. Let's jump a little bit to something really exciting that I used to donate my time to the way station back in the day. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a way station here in Los Angeles, and I think it's like Tahunga. Back in the day, that had rescued wildlife, exotic animals that people had no right having in their homes, and basically really messed them up. This was a place for them to live their lives out because you couldn't give them back to the wild. I used to go up there with athletes and entertainers. A group with Shaq actually used to bring inner city children up there and invite actors and celebrities to go up there and donate time in this property. So when you guys came to me and said, "Hey, we're doing this thing called Way Station 2.0," I went, "What? I know that place." Jump, Blaine, go. Tell us about that. What are you guys doing that I'm going to be talking a hell of a lot about, because this is really exciting what you're doing with the new Way Station 2.0.
Well, if anybody doesn't know what the original way station was, it was about a 47-year-old legacy sanctuary that started with a woman named Martine Collette, who was quite an interesting character, a real renegade, and devoted her life to saving all animals, not just certain, but just all wildlife. And that place had, I think the stats are, it had around 75,000 wild animals came through its doors in the whole 47 years. If people don't understand, it's not a way station as in WEIGH. It's a WAY station, as in it's a place where the animals would go along their way to their final home. So it would be a resting place, a place that they can kind of regroup and get the treatment they need and get the care they need. And then we try to find, they would try to find other homes for it, for the animals. And in the last few years of the way station's existence, it kind of went into a little bit of disrepair, a little bit of mismanagement, because there'd become new people on the board, and Fish and Wildlife had gotten involved. It had gotten kind of convoluted with other issues, so it had to close down. Unfortunately, all the animals were moved out, except for these 48 chimpanzees, which were chimpanzees from the AIDS era that were lab tested chimps. That a lot of them had PTSD, had AIDS, had diseases, and but they had been together for so long, had been like a family. And at the way station, they were the ones that were having the hardest time to rehome, because it's just tough. Chimps are tough.
Yeah.
And so when I got involved, I was speaking with Mitch about what we could do to buy the place, and rather than have it shut down, to reinvent it. And the first task was to save from the chimps to be moved, which was our number one focus and goal. And that was what was going to happen. We weren't going to let one chimp move.
Yeah.
That was 3 years ago. And unfortunately, the bittersweet pill that we all had to take was, in order for us to actually do what we really know we need to do with the way station, to reinvent it, unfortunately, it meant cleaning house. And unfortunately, that meant that in order for us to do it, every one of the animals had to leave, including the chimps. So unfortunately, we were not successful at stopping the chimps from being separated from their families, because that's what happened. They had to be kind of separated. And that was, that's no different than you sitting in your living room with your family, and somebody just comes in, blows a dart at your grandmother and puts her out, and then they take her away, and she's never to be seen again. That's, at least as a human, you can make a phone call, but with these chimps, it was not like that. So that was really sad. And then Martine Collette, the founder, she passed away, unfortunately, recently. And as disheartening and sad as that was, it kind of also paved the way for us to do what we needed to do with the way station, because with 47 years of running a business, there was so much to unravel there for us to buy the property, that it just became something that, so we took that role, and now we're in the position to kind of take it over once the last few bits are taken care of. And what we plan to do with it is we're not going to repopulate it immediately with the wild animals. We don't really necessarily want the animals to be living in the same conditions that they were. We're going to reinvent the enclosures to be more like their natural habitats. It's not going to be
Thank you.
so
Thank
much
you for
like a
saying
zoo.
that, because the days of the zoo, I think, are really going out. We got orcas in the mall in countries where you go shopping for leggings and you see an orca in, and even like the zoo. I know my friends who have kids, little ones, they won't go to zoos because they said it's so damn depressing. Even the little kids go, "Mommy, how come that big elephant is in that little enclosure? He's fine, honey. He's happy." And then you go on. No, and even the kids going, "What?"
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
No, that's important
Yeah,
for everybody to know that this is not a zoo. It's not a petting zoo. It's not a,
yeah,
it is, it's, we're promoting that we are a refuge, a rescue, a
right.
sanctuary.
And to put it in another term, we're really forward on how animals have evolved and emerged now. Like, honestly, we want it to be entertaining for the animals. Like, we want the animals to actually be not feeling like they're on display, but like maybe more like we're on display. And so that's kind
Well,
of an interesting way of positioning this, because you're not going to see fences, you're not going to see cages. You're actually going to feel like you're the cage
Hmm.
going through it. And the whole idea of what we want to do here is give people that impact, that when they go through, they feel different, they feel changed by the fact that they've actually been potentially the incarcerated and not the free. So that's
and when
one
you
part.
and when you say go through, you mean you're going to create like, because this is over 150 acres you guys have, so you're going to create like almost like these, what do you call them, 3-dimensional or whatever, like,
Well, we're working with VR, virtual reality
right,
technology, and a lot of these, like some of these aquariums and whatnot, are starting to, figure, well, what do we do if we can't have live animals? Well, you give them a virtual experience because VR is very popular, so people can come in.
yeah,
So, kind of what our idea to do is, we still provide the sanctuary for the animals. We can
mm-hmm,
place cameras around that you can see the animals. We have a control command central that you can actually go and watch every animal. It's amazing. It's not infringing on it, hurting them. um, and then there's areas where the animals, if they choose, they can interact with humans because they like, some animals just
some
prefer
do,
that,
oh my God,
but
some
it's their
animals just,
choice. It's their
yeah,
choice, and they can go to that area, and there's ways that we can make it to where you can have a certain type of interaction with the animals. And
mm-hmm,
then as well, we offer a VR theater. We're working with a company called Megaverse that provides, it's like a room the size of a tennis court, and you go into it and you put on your headset, and you're virtually immersed. And what's beautiful about this is, not only can you see just as many animals that were maybe there at one time,
right,
but the imagination is your only, limitation, because you can see woolly mammoth, you can see pterodactyl. I mean, you can see animals that are extinct. You can run with panthers. You can do so much more than you could actually really do at a zoo, and it's just such a more immersive experience. And you get to actually know that you are on the premises with these animals, because you can see the videos and watch them in live real time what they're doing, but you're not infringing or in invading their territory. You're not threatening them in any way. And if they want to see you, there's areas where they can go see you, and you can, do, I don't want to say petting zoo type stuff. There's certain animals that just like
sure,
human
yeah, no,
interaction,
people
and
still
they
like
want
To
to,
to.
be, yeah, to be kind of just like clear on that too. The other cool thing is that this creates this reason to have all the way stations everywhere, because imagine if the rhinos in Africa are doing something and we want to see that from our way station in Los Angeles, we can go there in the headsets and literally be in the rhino run in Africa with our partner sanctuary there. Like, how cool is that, right? So
I
we're
love
bringing the
that.
rewilding to us. And then the second thing is, to your point, I just wanted to clarify this about captive animals and wild animals. Obviously, we have captive species and then we have wild species, but then there's kind of species in the middle that are like captive wild.
Right.
And people don't realize that, because like the chimpanzees, for example, that were wild in Africa, stolen to be put in a lab, they had a time in their life where they were wild, but then they had a time in their life where they were in a lab. So they have a choice that's been built. They've actually been socialized around humans so much that they're damn near almost human, and they should have a choice to do and be who they want to be, when they want to be, with whomever they want to be, within reason, with proper zoological and human guidelines, because you're looking at a non-human human animal. So there's a lot that's going to go into this with regard to, safety, welfare, their care, but also taking into consideration how they've sociologically evolved. That's something
I
really.
love, I just, every time you guys talk about this, I just get chills up and down my body. So
And
basically what I'm hearing also, which I think is a really important part of this, is that there's a lot of education that's going to happen, so that, for instance, when you do see the animal in real life, in this dimension, and then you go into this 3D world where you actually get to experience their natural habitat, where they're supposed to be, hopefully that will make somebody, when they take that 3D thing off, realize, oh my God, my idea of going to get a tiger because I think it's cool, because I'm a basketball player or whatever, football player, and I think it'd be really fun to have a tiger in my backyard. Hopefully you'll think twice, because if you have the opportunity where they're supposed to be, your backyard ain't going to even nearly cut it, right? Because a lot of people don't realize, or have, beyond just watching National Geographic or footage on Instagram of like the real, right, where their real habitat, where they're supposed to be. Like, these are not pets, right?
Right.
These are, and you're kind of showing them in a real dynamic way where they're supposed to be, and that's educational. right?
Yeah.
And it's immersive too. You know, it's more of an immersive experience than you would imagine. You can have a more immersive experience without actually being anywhere near the animals, the
Right.
way
Or
that we present
you
it,
won't
and
get
also
hurt.
the
Yeah.
immersive in terms of, you know, not every location that we're going to have is going to be able to accommodate everything we'd like to do. So the way station may or may not, the one in LA may or may not be able to accommodate short-term stays and glamping and camping, but other locations will. And so
Right.
that's, we want people to look at this as almost an ecotourism destination and agritourism, because a lot of what we'll do will be, you know, speaking and teaching about, you know, preserving not only animals, but preserving the earth and how to live off the earth and how to balance that. And so a lot of that is educational, like you said. And we want to provide a place that you can go spend a night, spend a weekend, spend a week, and immerse yourself in that. And if you like that and you want to go visit, like Lindsey said, the one in Africa, okay, I'll go there. If you're part of the network and you're subscribing to the guidelines and the rules that we want to set as our new bars of excellence for animal and earth care, then you can take part in almost what is almost like this really cool eco timeshare that you can kind of know that you can stay at these different places and go help with building the enclosures or feeding or growing or just learning, you know, whatnot. And
So you guys are going to give people an opportunity to join like this journey and actually be part of it. Some can be boots on ground, or just basically if they have the financial means to help, or just the passion like me. I don't have right now, we're striking. I'm an actor, I'm on strike. But let me tell you, I may not have like money to fund this, but I have a mouth, I have a microphone, a very big one, I might add. And I have a podcast, and I have a lot of people who follow me, who care, who think stuff like this is amazing. And they want to know where to find, you know, these opportunities to be part of that, right? I mean, that makes people feel good to know that they're part of that. So we are going to give all the show notes, everybody on the show notes, where to follow you, right, you guys, and where they can help and all that. We're going to do that and lead them. We're going to lead them to my show notes and give all the information there.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
sure, definitely. And to just be clear too on the, you know, the timeshare type of idea, this is more like, you know, we're building it as we go, and we're open also to different partnerships. So if there are people out there that say, hey, I have a piece of land and I'd love to help the wild mustangs, please contact us, right?
Yeah.
If you have a need or a want to have a sanctuary, if you want to be somebody who has a farm sanctuary or refuge, or maybe you just have room for a couple of horses, reach out, because we're creating a network of people that actually want to foster animals nationwide and worldwide. And the goal is really to just kind of create more awareness that this is a need. I mean, I think a lot of people don't even realize the problem with dogs right now. I don't know if you know this, but 7 million dogs a year get euthanized just in California.
Yeah, I know.
You know, there's all of the shelters are overrun. You know, the more people that we can get to foster, the more people we can get to help with spay and neuters, the more people that we can help, you know, get to like be involved and understand this, you know, the better chance we have of helping the animals and helping them find a place, and also having more places where people can do this. I think that's one of the issues in the sanctuary world is everyone's afraid someone's going to have a sanctuary and mess it up. Meanwhile, no one has a sanctuary because they're afraid of messing it up. So then everyone doesn't have a sanctuary, and then all these animals end up dead. So at a certain point, somebody has to say, hey, some bad stuff's happened. You got the Tiger Kings of the world and the Carol Baskins and all this, but you know what? Like, they tried, they did their best. Some of them were successful, some were not, but there's a new generation, and our kids are all being raised to care. So we got to give them somewhere to go.
Yeah,
you know, so.
Exactly. I love that. Well, I love the fact that you're saying, hey, listen, you know, if people were to reach out to people like you could teach them how to make that work. Cause I know a lot of people would do it if they just knew how. Like, I don't know how, and you guys are going to help me. One day when I get a big chunk of land, you're going to help me do that, by the way.
Absolutely. That's the goal.
I am
We
going to
have,
do it.
and also sanctuary owners, what we learned kind of by studying them over the last few years is that there's a common thread of similar problems that they have, is that, like Lindsey said, a lot of them are just, they're not necessarily astute business people, but they've just got big hearts and they're doing it for the right reason. And then they get bogged down with the business side of things that they really shouldn't be dealing with. And because they have to wear so many hats, things start to fall through the cracks. And all of a sudden, some permit didn't get paid for or got overlooked. And all of a sudden, they're getting threatened to be shut down when all they're trying to do is help. And they have they're guilty of just not having a strong back office. And also, there's no real need anymore for sanctuaries to be groveling on their knees all the time for $10 donations and doing so much groveling and begging for donations, when in this day and age of social media and content creation and products and merchandise, Shopify, pretty much everybody that has a sanctuary, that has a staff and has animals, every one of those animals has a name, has a story, and a character can be created, a YouTube channel, an Instagram, a Facebook page, a TikTok, and there is many ways to create revenue, and not, it's not profit, it's just creating revenue from what you have. So you're not, and that will bring more donors, and you don't have to be out necessarily, mining for donors. The donors will find you because you're so exposed. You put yourself out there, and you have such cool content, and you have such cool, animals that people want to learn about, and land that has, not just the animals, but a lot of people have great properties that have so much different species of flora and fauna on it. And we're looking at getting into more of a rewilding type thing, since that's so popular right now. And then also, we're tying in with partnerships with healing and holistic and all natural sort of alternative healing methods, not just for humans, but for the animals, so that we can kind of look at this as every destination is also sort of a healing center where you can go and you can, bring yourself and bring your animals, bring your children, and, and then we explore from there, and then the sky's the limit.
Yeah. And we talk about, this because sorry.
Oh, honey.
Okay.
This is why I just adore you guys. Look at, I mean, you guys can't, if you're not watching this, if you're hearing this podcast, Lindsey is so emotional. Her heart is right in the middle of her throat.
Wow. Well, I just wanted to say to you that, sorry.
Oh, honey, no, don't ever be sorry. Tears are beautiful. Tears are beautiful.
You were telling me about, the speech you did, your letter to your father. And,
the speech that I wrote to my dad for the Betty Ford
the recovery.
Betty Ford, recovery.
And I just lost my dad recently, and he was an addict, and a lot of this has a lot to do with that part of my life, right?
Yeah.
And sorry, I just get myself together here, but
no, we love that.
When I was a little kid, having a dad who's an addict is very difficult, as you know, and it's one of the most impactful things that probably drove me to take care of animals. But when my dad would use or would, be gone, and my mom was throwing his stuff out of windows and things like that, trying to leave him and this and that, the neighbors next door would take me out to their farm, and I spent all this time with horses. And I adopted this horse, Wire. He was his name was Wire because he went through a bit of barbed wire and hurt his leg, and he was a wild Mustang. And he saved me, at that age. That was literally my, if I didn't have him, I don't know what would happen to me. And so ever since then, all these animals to me have sort of, I say I saved them, but they saved me, right? And I just believe that that's something that for anyone who's in recovery, anyone who has a parent who may not have made it, like my dad, who basically died because he had a lot of issues with alcohol and drugs, and was an amazing entertainer, phenomenal human in other ways. But, he's, in my mind, you can laugh at this, you won't, but anybody listening might say, but I always say he's one of the horses. I have a horse right now named Steve that I named him Steve because he's my dad. So I kind of in my mind have, done this. And I just wonder sometimes if maybe they are spirits of people that haven't been here. I always feel like I'm taking care of the grandmas and the grandpas. Yeah. But to me, it's just, I think, just such a beautiful thing. People say animals are healing, but they just truly, really are. And I just want everyone to have that access. So that's something that.
Well, Lindsey, this is what I love about you is that our stories are very similar. Growing up as a child of an alcoholic parent, I too would go outside and be with my dog or my cat, or I'd go up the road and play with other people's animals, or I would rescue them. I'd find them in a gutter and I'd come up. Animals saved me through a very dysfunctional childhood and carried me through my adulthood. And when I was active in my disease, I got far away from them. That's what's so awesome about being sober now. I'm able to get back to that authentic self and that truth, which is my connection to animals and Mother Earth, and how powerful and healing. And when you are active in your disease, you're about as far away from that as possible. And that's not where you're your best, right? It can't be about all the noise, the noise out there. It has to be about, like you were saying, there are connections with people and animals and the Mother Earth. And I love your tears. Don't you ever apologize for them, girl. Not at least around me. Hey, can we talk about something really fun?
Yeah. Sure. Aliens. Let's talk about aliens.
Yeah, I was just going to say, have you ever been taken away by an alien? Do you believe in this shit? What's going on? Ooh, wow, her finger just went right up to the lens. Talked about paranormal, supernatural. Do you believe yes or no, and why?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I believe you.
Of course. Yeah, I believe everything.
Blaine's like, yep. Move on. Next question.
Yeah, I do. For sure.
Well,
You believe in it too.
oh
I
yeah.
believe in it, but I've never had any. It seems like everybody you meet has at least some encounter with a ghost or some encounter with an alien. I have not. Maybe I'm just one of those out of touch, really not aware people, and they're all around me and it's happening. I just don't see it, because that does happen with me a lot, where things are right in front of my face and I don't see them till later. But never in my life. I don't think I've had one encounter with a ghost. I've wanted to. I've called for ghosts. I've called for spirits, and
Oh,
in play, like when I'm down at the Coppola House in the French Quarter in New Orleans, and everybody else says, "Oh, there's a ghost. I heard something tonight." I'm like, never. It never happens to me. I don't ever see or hear any ghosts. Please,
You're like
spirit.
me. I always tell the boys, listen, if I disappear for a few hours, I've been hopefully abducted.
Yeah, I
Hopefully
welcome
went to
it. I'm not
another
afraid of it at
universe.
all.
Hopefully didn't get prodded, because that doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
maybe
no,
I
no.
haven't had a date in a while. But anyways, oh, I'm so sorry for people if there's children in the car. I apologize. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm like, I just say to the boys, it's okay. It's all right. I'll be back. And when I come back and tell you I've had this experience, do not 5150 me, because and they're like, oh my God. Okay, enough with you and your craziness. I don't want to say I make fun of it, because I don't make fun of it. I would never make fun of people's experiences nor discredit them, because that's why I would talk about this on this show. I've had my own experiences with my best friend who I lost to AIDS in the 90s, and he has come to me multiple times in different ways. And I don't really care if people think I'm crazy or not. That makes me comforted knowing that he's good, that he's with energy and light, and he's still messing with me even though he doesn't have an earth body, because when he was at an earth body he was always messing with me, and he's still messing with me, and that makes me feel like I'm never alone, because he's always there. I know my father's still around me, and many that I've lost, and that's comforting, and I don't think we should ever take that away from somebody or make them to be crazy. I have another question, speaking of that, that's I think a beautiful question, and I'm always shocked at when I hear people's answers. I just had someone yesterday tell me, I'm not going to tell you. I'll tell you in a minute. What animal would you guys like to be reincarnated as, and why?
So the question is, like to be reincarnated as, or
Yeah, what would you like to be
or what I think
reincarnated?
I'll be reincarnated as?
Oh, God, answer both.
What are you gonna do? Who are you gonna be?
I don't know. This is a different question. I thought I was expecting, what is your
Spirit animal. That's what I thought too. I was like,
I know what
okay,
that
I
one is.
planned my
I
answer
was
for that
prepared
one
for
too.
that. As far as what I'd like to be recreated as or reincarnated as,
Okay. Right now, for
I
those
think
who are
I would
listening,
like to be the Loch Ness monster. If that's an actual monster or an animal or a Sasquatch. I think I would like to be something
Oh.
that may exist, but I think personally does exist, or a dragon, because next year is the year of the dragon, and they say that that's the most magical year. Actually, our friend Melissa Yamaguchi and Mary Hemingway, they told me that because they did the animal reading on me the other day, and they said that next year is the year for magic because of the dragon being the year. So I want to be the magical creature.
Wait, Melissa did a reading with, she didn't do that with for me.
Oh no!
Oh, I'm calling her after the
Call her
podcast.
right
So
now.
she has
She
some, her
feng
and
shuied
Mariella
my
have
whole
some
life.
explaining to do.
She said I was day of the horse, month of the rabbit, and then year of the pig, which I didn't know the month and the day. And also, get this, Blaine is month of rabbit, and so is Peter, month of rabbit. We're all rabbits all together. It's like Watership down here.
or a little rabbit.
I love
Reproducing.
rabbits. I have them all around the mountains up here. They're little white, little cotton buds. They just hop away. Do.
I
try
have
to
a
catch
rabbit
him.
too. His name is Archimedes, but yeah.
Can you pet him?
Oh yeah.
These are wild out here. They just look at me like, honey, just drop the carrot and run.
He has a friend. He's a rabbit, and then his friend is a pigeon named Person the pigeon.
What? There's a pigeon who's a rabbit? What?
So Archimedes' friend, his best friend, because they're friends together, is a pigeon, like a homing pigeon, and her name is Person the pigeon.
Okay, so Person the pigeon is friends with the rabbit.
Archimedes the rabbit.
Okay,
yeah.
That reminds me of an Instagram that I followed, Molly, and oh gosh, what's it called? It's a magpie that was
they're great.
Yeah,
That's
with the
amazing.
they look like pit bulls.
I never saw it. What are they?
Yeah, there's a pit bull or whatever, a vicious looking dog and a magpie, and they're best friends.
Best friends.
So funny.
The magpie they found hurt, and the magpie drank milk from. Well, the dog started to lactate around the hurt bird.
Oh, weird.
Its whole little body knew that the bird needed something like a mother producing milk, and it fed the magpie from her little body, this dog, and they have been inseparable. They play. The bird thinks it's a dog. The dog
Yeah.
thinks it's a bird, and it's a magpie. Lives with now 2 of these dogs. I think 3 now, and they're called Molly and something, and it's one of my favorite Instagrams to follow
How
because
cute.
it makes me so happy when I see that, and I just love it when I see like the turtle playing with the dog, or like you said, it's
Mhm.
just like
Yeah,
we're all
I'm a big fan of that too. Last night I saw one and I just followed a new one. It's a guy has 2 dogs and he rescued a little baby raccoon, and the raccoon just is a
yeah,
dog now. And
yeah,
it's a raccoon and 2 dogs in the house. Like they
yeah,
have it in the house, and it's cute
yeah.
as can be.
Yeah.
That's me. One day when I get out of this rental, because I really want my deposits back. If I start bringing cows and magpies into the house, I'm out. So when I get my own home where I can bring all that inside, my boys are like, "You are not going to bring them inside, are you?" And then my one son goes, "You know she is." And the other goes, "I know she is." Oh no, oh no,
Yeah, it'd be
here we
kind of
go.
interesting to kind of raise a whole gaggle of different species of animals as puppies or as children, as little babies, and and just see if they all do stay friends and
Yeah, yeah.
enjoy their. I like the one also with the. Have you seen the panther and the Rottweiler?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's
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 my
cool.
favorite.
amazing.
I
The
follow.
Yeah,
guy,
I
they're in
don't.
Russia, I think.
I don't
yeah.
really
Russia has all
follow.
kinds of crazy
Yeah,
stuff.
they
They
got
got
bears
bears
and
and
everything.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really follow many celebrities or people. I follow all of that. I do follow the Rottweiler
Yeah.
because I have a Rottweiler and Cougar. I
We
follow the
have a
Magpie
Rottweiler
with the,
too.
yeah,
We
you
have
know me.
one
I
too.
follow yours and all the horse ones. I follow all of the insect ones, the ocean ones. I follow all those.
Yeah.
Hold on, I
You
think we're running out
know,
of time. Blaine,
oh,
you don't think you're getting away from the question. Lindsay said she wants to be Loch Ness, Sasquatch,
Uh,
or dragon.
I
I
think
love
I'd
those.
be I think I'd be a silverback gorilla.
Oh, I can
wow.
see that.
King of, I mean, I just was saying, what's the most, the king of the jungle, I think, other than the lion, is the
Oh, a
silverback gorilla.
silverback.
Yeah.
Silverback, when you look into their eyes and they look at you, don't you think they're looking right into your soul?
Hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
They,
Yeah.
Chimpanzees too. The chimpanzees
oh,
too.
I held one back in the day, and my all my animal friends, and when Reggie was the name, and he looked right at me, and I was like, oh, I couldn't even breathe.
Yeah.
He was, I was so
A little baby
connected to
gorilla?
No
a
baby
baby
chimp.
Oh, baby
chimpanzee
kid.
named Reggie,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was there's pictures of me with it somewhere. And this is before cell phones. So hello, yeah. I
What?
was I'll never forget that moment when I was holding this chimpanzee and he looked right at me. I looked at him and had his arms around me and he started to groom my face. And I was very taken back and I felt I'm looking into another human being. There was
It takes your breath away, right?
it took my breath away and I
Yeah.
said you can't even describe how that feels when what I have to say are our brothers and sisters. There are DNAs. I mean, that's who I felt like I was holding not even a child, another human being. Like
Yeah.
that's it had nothing to do with size because it was
Yeah.
strong. I mean, I could tell that even though it was grooming me and trying to take my freckles and, it had really a gentle touch. It had strength in those fingers and could take my face off if it wanted to,
Yeah.
but it chose not to because it was just simply wanted to groom me because I was a mess, kind of like I normally am. Like right now, it would start grooming my hair.
But
But
that's what it is to be human, is that we have a choice to love and we have a choice to
oh,
hate.
and
And
it
that's
did.
what I think makes them human. I agree with you. We
It
had
did.
the same situation when
He
we met
chose
them at the way
to.
station. Felt the same.
Yeah.
Exact same.
And I thought if everybody in the world, okay, I hate saying everyone because it's just so broad. If a big chunk of the people in the world could have had that experience of holding that chimp and looking into his eyes and vice versa, it's life changing. There's no describing it. You just kind of go, oh my God, what was that? And that's what life's about for me, anyways. It's like that connection because we're all connected, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, now this is not goodbye. There's way too much you guys are involved with. We're gonna have you back for sure. People are gonna be like, wait a minute, what else are they doing? What's that? And also, again, I'm connected with you guys. You guys listening and watching this podcast, you are gonna be hearing a lot about ARN and Waystation 2.0. ARN is Animal Refuge Network, which I'm gonna be there. You'll be hearing a lot about it. We're gonna just keep you posted on everything they're doing. Like Blaine was saying, we're gonna start naming the animals. You're gonna start following them. You guys are gonna fall in love with their journey. And will you guys come back on Down with Dedee?
Of course.
Anytime.
Yeah. Thank you
Yeah,
for
thank
having us
you.
finally.
You're like, I'm helping you with the podcast. Of course I'm coming back.
Yeah, we're coming back. We're here. Whatever you need.
All right, guys.
We're so excited about Down with Dedee. Woohoo!
That's right. Thank you, guys. Come back for
For
part
more
2
information on today's
All right.
guest,
Thank you,
check out the
Dedee.
show notes
Bye-bye.
below
Thanks for having
or
me.
visit our website
Bye.
at www.downwithdedee.com.